Hello, I'm Mahet, and in this video I'm going to share some ways to create a great yard in WoW player housing. The first thing to keep in mind is that you want to tell a story. Now this story could be complex. For example, I've placed a plague-infected moonwell in my Alliance yard because my Alliance main is a night elf who was raised during the Battle of Darkshore. But the story you're telling doesn't have to be RP based. In my horde home, I'm telling a very simple story here of a tree that has grown too big for its plot. This environmental storytelling suggests that the tree was planted long ago and has damaged the fence as it's gotten bigger and bigger. The story you're telling can be even smaller by referencing things like the wind direction off the ocean in the way that you place your grass. It doesn't have to be a grand story, but it helps to have one. Number 2 is avoid perfection. Even if you were designing an enormous French garden, perfection will only work against you. Although you can see our plot boundaries now, and you could place the fence exactly along it as seen here, it doesn't make for a very interesting story. Look at the difference it will make if we take that same story of a tree growing in the way of the fence and changing things up here. We've gone from something that looks very rigid and artificial to a fence that now looks like it's been here on the cliff face for years and years. The other way I like to implement this lack of perfection is by using only bits of fencing or plants to border or bookend the contents of the plot. Here on my Alliance plot, you can see that I've used just bits and pieces of fence zigzagged around to give the implication of a contained yard without actually having one. This also becomes useful if you're trying to cut down on outdoor budget. Number 3 is choose a focal point. Just like in the interior tips video, you'll want to choose something to act as an anchor for everything else. Often with yards, this would be the front door, as it is in my horde property. But depending on the story you're telling, it could be a portal to the Emerald Dream. Or a sunny terrace that overlooks the cliff. It doesn't matter what it is, but as long as you have an anchor for all of your other decor items, things will feel intentional and polished. Fourth on my list is include hardscaping. Hardscaping refers to paths, patios, retaining walls, and stairs, which help give the overall layout structure. This can be especially helpful if you have a lot of plants that are starting to feel messy. I really love these cobblestone paths because they are dyeable, meaning you have more control over what sort of contrast or color you're introducing. You certainly don't have to use the path items that are included in-game. Here I'm experimenting with some of the boulder items to create organic retaining walls on a night elf property. Or if you want to keep things even more worn and natural, the doormat item flipped upside down and patched together can make a great dirt path. Whatever you choose as your hardscaping element, don't forget to avoid perfection. As you can see on my Alliance property, the path doesn't need to connect to everything. Just like the fences, it's okay to leave gaps and let your visitors fill in the blanks. Last up, limitations can be helpful. And I'm not just talking about the decor limit. If you're finding that your plot is feeling messy or chaotic, it might be a good idea to start reducing the items you're including. When it came to my horde house, I really wanted to use the broomwood clusters because they are the spookiest, but given that I'm building a beach house, I decided instead to restrict myself to plants that fit the color palette of the biome. Here you can see some of the other Horde clusters still don't match as nicely as the Cragthorn Highlands cluster, with that desaturated sandy beach. Likewise, in my Alliance property, I've chosen to use a lot of Gilnean roses close to the house since they look so nice with the other Gilnean items I'm using, but further away from the house, and particularly close to the plagued Moonwell, I'm using a lot of the Bloomwood clusters for that spooky edge. If your yard is feeling too messy, it might not be that plants are the problem, but reducing the number of items or choices that you're making can help everything look cleaner and again more intentional. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you liked, disliked, and might be changing about your own yard, and I'll be back again soon. I promise.